Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on in. It is another round here in SSRL. It is round 9 of Season 7. We are off to Qatar tonight. And, well, boy, we have some things to talk about, but we've got to get through things very quickly. Of course, last week, we were in Vegas. And then, of course, tonight we are in Qatar. And then it'll be off to Abu Dhabi next week, of course, the finale of the real life F1. But let's go through your driver standings first and foremost. And you can tell I've not had quite enough time for myself here, but Lusail is ahead by 5 points despite not finishing in Vegas. Maintains the lead. Herman catching up very, very quickly. 7 points went his way with Babish in third. We have a bit to talk about there. Andy Andre, we're now in fourth, ahead of Moksha in fifth. And it's Andrew Energetic, Verstappen, Bards, and Wouter, followed by Race Chase, Quincy, Ryan Brooks, Tarkangino, Kavachka, Flip Namsram, Kwan, and then Crank Jogged, with your reserve being Danger David, Fellowson, Salvi, Pleasant Sake, Vincenzo, Drugster, and ADS. And then in your team standings, well, a bit of a familiar story there so far. Alpine still leading as of right now, or that could be actually new, because can I remember the results from last week? Not quite. So 18-point lead for them. In fact, yeah, no, it is an 18-point lead. In fact, that's gone down a little bit because Ferrari scored more. So is then Williams as well, still in hot pursuit there in third. McLaren and Aston rounding out your top 5. Then it's Red Bull and Mercedes even on points, followed by Haas, Kick Sauber, and the Racing Bulls. Well, let's go. Oh, no, that's not it. Hang on a minute. No, that's not it. Beg your pardon there. Beg your finest pardon. And now we will go into the game capture and we will start looking at qualifying, and a few drivers are already out there. And let's just fade out this music and then switch to the relevant scene. So we'll transition in. Well, as you can imagine, there has been a bit of controversy. As if you remember what happened last week, there was a bit of an incident, to say the least, between Babish and a couple of other drivers, of course, on that epic, well, I say epic final lap. That is certainly one way to describe it. It was certainly something I had never, ever seen before. And in the end, Babish did get a massive penalty. His podium was removed, and he was subsequently brought down to 13th place. So in the end, only taking 3 points away. And tonight, because he has broken several penalty point thresholds, he has got a total of 63 seconds to serve at the end of this. So if he was your favorite for the championship, I'd really start to forget about it. He's got 3 rounds after this one, so there is that. But otherwise, I think that is all said and done for Babish's hopes. But maybe tonight can be at least an exercise in maximum damage control, but really does need to stay within that top 10 in order to be considered any kind of chance at taking this championship into the next 3 races. He is an outside chance, but then again, you can say the same for Andy Andre, who of course took a really good, well, who took 3rd place. He would have wanted that to be a win. That, of course, went to Danger David. But either way, Andy is still with that outside chance, 42 points. If you include tonight, it is 4 races to go, and that 42 points, remember, it's a maximum of 27 points from every race if you include the point for the fastest lap. I'll just get the actual chart out for you with the points, and then we can start breaking things down. So, of course, like I said before, Andy with 42 points behind there. 4 races to go. That's not impossible. If anything happens to rush the series again, and if we go by the SSRL rule of thumb, you need to have 2 races go wrong. That's usually the standard. Now, Andy has had about 3 or 4 races not go his way, usually down to attendance, DNFs, especially in Singapore. There was an early DNF there, and, well, at the moment, he is certainly not giving up on that fight just yet. He does feel that the championship isn't really his to have, as we see Mr. Wouter go to the line here. But imagine if he gets pole in this qualifying, then that would be something special. In fact, it might be Andy coming to the line right now. He is top of the timing boards and the first driver to get into the 1:21.5s, but let's see how the times come down. We're seeing his teammate, his reserve teammate, and anyhow, it's Danger David, and I know that he will have wanted that partnership, the partnership that he's been longing to have, the Scotsman, and that's a 1:22.0, so not too far away, half a second, but fellow son much closer this time around. Herman the German as well is in second place, of course, was able to gain 7 points after finishing 9th after after Bavish's massive penalty that came his way, dropped it all the way down to 13th place. And, 3 races to go, and he has, let me just double check the points there, a 21-point gap. So, the main thing for Bavish here is damage control. That is all he can do. And in all reality, he is also serving a qualifying ban as well. I do believe Kovachka is as well, if I've read my Discord messages correctly. I will just go and double check that in just a few moments' time. But Herman has also just started a flying lap as well. Going into this, second place, 5 points behind, 4 races to go. And at the moment, Rush the Series is top of the timing boards. Now, in Qatar, as we saw in real life, it's not necessarily about how you overtake in the race. It's about where you are in qualifying, because you need about 0.8 of a second on the driver ahead of you in order to be considered a chance to overtake. And with the tyre wear here, of course, that is more than possible. We could see some overtakes here tonight, but I just wouldn't bank on this being an overtaking fest like we would see at other tracks, such as last week's Vegas Grand Prix in SSRL. So I think it is going to be more a case of qualifying is the most important session of the evening, and that one is going to really determine the first point of where drivers finish where. Now, I have seen an overtaking fest here at Qatar once, but that was a few weeks ago, and that was certainly 1 in a million. But now we're going to see Herman to the line. That's not very competitive. That's a second off of his championship competitor. Looks like something has gone wrong. As El Plan had sent in by Temtem. Hello to you. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? It is good to see you. You've just seen Herman, a championship contender, behind by Rush the Series with 5 points to spare. Just go across the line there and go to the top of the timing boards. And at the moment, we're just waiting for a couple of others to finish their laps. Race Chase is on a flyer while Quincy completes this. So 1:22.2. And now we'll go to Race Chase, who is currently on a flyer. Maybe a couple of others around the track as well. Probably just coming off flying laps as we speak. Let's go, Herman, says Underling. Definitely no bias there from our Canadian moderator there. None at all. Can't see it. And I'm going to deny it, as now we're going to see Race Chase go through these what's the word I'm looking for here? Twisty, bendy corners. There you go. I got my T's and B's mixed up. And now that's just through turn 10. Now he's going to approach turns 12, 13, and 14. Flat through here, usually. And, Race Chase going from strength to strength. Erman the Erman. He'll love that. He'll love that. I'm not biased. You're biased as he reaches a 30 stream cheek. Herm the Germ. Goodness me. Anyway, Race Chase coming to the line now. That is a really good time from the American. Holy moly. Where has that come from, huh? Race Chase there is on fire and has just knocked Herman out of the top 10. I didn't think I would ever be saying that this season, but here we are. I remember Bernie the... Herman's going to be loving that. Herman's going to be loving that. I know he will. No need to apologize. Tarkagino is also, I think, on a flyer as we speak, but in 2.5 seconds down in set 2. That is one to write off for the time being. Just as a reminder for all of you, as Sir Ibo is currently in the gravel, he's just not been the most impressive in this league, unfortunately. And I think it is just down to the fact that he just doesn't really have the time to practice. I do believe it is him or somebody else me and Herman were talking about a couple of weeks ago. And ultimately, there's just not a lot of time for certain drivers to put a certain amount of practice in. Let's see. Just a couple of messages. Yeah, so Bavish has been told, obviously, because of his last lap shenanigans in Vegas, he will not be allowed to do an outlap. He must do a setup. I must load his setup and then retire. So, of course, serving a qualifier. Poorman, I might not say that one out loud. Not because for fear of saying something wrong, but for fear of mispronouncing it. But anyway, just to remind you all, if you have just joined in, well, first and foremost, welcome on in. Well, beg your pardon. I'm currently a bit lost for words at the moment, as Andy is on a lap, but Bavish has been served a qualifying ban after shenanigans in 7 different leads. He's got plenty of time. Oh, goodness me. Okay, then. Never mind, then. A chuckster comes in and tells me that I am handing out misinformation. That term is not politically correct. Oh, dear. Anyway. Let's see. Let's go. Anyway, Andy is coming to the line now. Can he pip Rush Siri? He certainly can, but that's not by much, you know. Rush Siri, he said he was going to be the best of the rest in Imola, but maybe Qatar is going to be, his playgrounds, as fellow son also comes to the line there, 3rd place. But anyway, I keep trying to, I'm making a point here, guys. Don't interrupt me. We have Bravish there, who's just retired in the pit lane. He was not allowed to do an outlap, so he must load up the setup and retire, which he has done. Of course, that was after everything that happened in Vegas, and he will be starting from the back of the field, and of course, serving a post-race 63-second penalty. So if you add on if you try your best not to get any track limit violations on this one. But either way, Bavish, well, is looking at maximum of damage control. And, well, it's going to certainly be an uphill battle from here. And in the track, on the one track where overtaking is just not really possible, you only have one DRS zone, which is down the start-finish straight. I just don't see that happening. So not winning then. No, definitely not. Not with a 63-second penalty, you're not. Certainly, well, if he does have the intention of winning, he's not going about it in the right way. Let's put it that way for free. As we're seeing Andrew now come through turn 10 and then through turn 11 in just a few moments' time. Now he'll be approaching the fast section. Let's go on board with the Aston Martin here, currently in 5th place. 2 tenths behind his teammate. Race Chase came in with an absolutely stunning time. In comparison to what we're used to seeing him doing, that has certainly caught me off guard, as now we are looking at a turn 15 and all flat through the previous few turns there. Now Andrew finally does get on the brake, gets on the throttle early, but this is only an in-lap after all, and there we go, 124. So it looked fast there, but indeed wasn't, as Mr. Welter there in 6th invalidates the time. So we'll take it from there. Herman the German is now on a flyer as well. Let's see him go through this fast section of track. 12, 13, and then 14. Very quick through there, using a lot more revs. In fact, down to 6th gear for him to try and get the maximum traction that he can. And same through there as well. 7th gear, and now we'll be slamming on the anchors at the 50-meter point. Definitely using a lot more of the track than we saw Andrew do on his in-lap. And Herman is pushing very hard. He's finally in the 121s, but is just under half a second away from being within Andy Andre's time. At least that's an improvement, and that brings him much closer to his championship rivals. And, well, of course, the other one he doesn't have to worry about at all. Bavish, obviously, as we've already covered tonight. Quincy as well, trying to really put some time on the board. Quincy last week finished in, well, got 7th place in quali, but DNF'd. You might remember Division 1, where he brought out the one and only safety car that race. This is a real F1 circuit, in my opinion. Too twisty, but good racing if there are some overtakes and fights. Honestly, yeah. I do not consider this a F1 circuit either. It was actually originally purposed, also welcome on in, Fox. It was originally purposed as a MotoGP track, and that is why the cars here do struggle to overtake. So ultimately, that is where, unfortunately, a lot goes wrong here. It was designed originally for MotoGP. But anyway, enough about that. Quincy, I don't think is going to be improving on that time. He's just going across into the pit lane right now. So let's go to Tarkan Gino, and he's currently in 11th place. Actually, 4 hundredths of a second behind Quincy there in 11th. Oh, but he's invalidated it through there and pushing a bit too hard. Well, he's going to be able to go out for another one, as now we see Race Chase, who put in a blistering time in the first flying lap he did, and now we're on his second, and he's left this rather late actually, but he has improved through sector 1. I didn't quite catch what the improvement was. We go through turn 7 right now, and we're gonna go approach 8, 9 and 10 in a quick matter of moments here. Slows it right down to 4th gear. Had to was briefly in 3rd there on the entry, and now we are accelerating, and we are approaching the fast turns of 12, 13 and then 14 and currently holding 7th gear through here, and he's really got a lot of turning on that Aston Martin, so I wonder if Andrew has helped out the American with setup. And here we go now, and Race Chase here is coming to the line past the 50-meter board, very late on the brakes there. It gets a nice line through the final corner. What is this gonna be? That is quick. Race Chase is blowing expectations out the water. And all of a sudden, could we have a bit of a shock here tonight? Danger David is also on a flyer, but is 1.5 tenths down on his personal best. Remember, the delta in the top right only compares to the driver's personal best, not the overall session best. I know I sound a bit like a broken clock when I say that, as Danger David is straight away invalidates. And with 3 minutes to go, he flings himself straight into the pit lane. And now we cut to the Red Bull of fellow son Rush Siri just ahead of him on an outlap a couple of corners away. So it shouldn't really impede him too much, but Race Chase will be hoping to get back into the pits and go for one final flying lap. Has to let the Red Bull through, and that's why you see the yellow flags out there. Going through turn number 7 now. 8 and 9 will be with you in a few moments. Fellow son having a bit of a moment on his rear end. That will cost him a few hundredths as we now approach turn 10. Slam it slightly on the anchors, but more speed seems to be able to be taken through turn 10 than in previous iterations of the F1 game. And DeAndre has also just started a flying lap just to keep you updated. Race Chase is still just further behind as we have a caution in Sector 3 for a slow-moving Haas driver. That can either be Sir Ibo or Bruiser, and the Haas drivers will be, well, the Haas team will be thinking, how on earth are we in 15th and 16th as of right now? Of course, only ahead of non-qualifier Bavish, who, of course, is obviously serving a qualifying ban, but fellow son couldn't complete that lap. He thought he invalidated it, he hadn't, and he slows right down. I just wonder if he lost a lot of time. But anyway, DeAndre is currently improving by nearly 2 tenths of a second in Sector 1, approaching Sector 2. We are going through turn 10 as we speak. The sector timing line is just past this McLaren. And it's, my goodness me, nearly 4 tenths of a second up. We need to keep an eye on what Race Chase and Rush Siri can do. Rush Siri is currently flying through his lap. He's just got his teammate behind him for good measure. With 1 minute 20 seconds to go, this is Andy's final flyer. He comes to the line now, and let's see where he can put it. It is a 120.7, so that is the first driver this evening to break into the 120s, and Rush Siri is down. He's invalidated as well, so he slowed it right down. What about his teammate Quan? What about Race Chase, maybe, who is currently 006 down in Sector 1. He wasn't able to get for any fresh tyres, so he is at a bit of a disadvantage, but he's half a tenth up in Sector 2. This could be a shock. We are ready to maybe witness something special from the American driver in a British team. Let's see what he can do. Race Chase now through the final corner. Remember, half a tenth through Sector 2, but he was down by 0.006 in Sector 1. That's a 121.383. And will that be enough to bring home second place? Well, there's a few drivers still yet to go. And it will be one of the Kick-Saubers first across the line. It's going to be Energetic here with 10 seconds to go in qualifying. What can the Kick-Sauber of Energetic do? Of course, more of a reserve in this league rather than being full-time like he is in Division 2. Qualifying is concluded. Both Hasses and the Red Bull are going to complete their laps, but Energetic goes to the line as well. Now, is it going to be Salvi or his teammate Moksha next across the line? Moksha, who started 14th last week, finished 4th. Where can he be this week? 9th place. That will do for him. And DeAndre into the pits, not really needing an improvement. Herman the German, I think, is next and is improving as well on his final flyer. This is oh so important for his championship. That's 5th place, but will that be where he finishes? Let's see where everyone else is. Quincy next across the line, 4th place for the Williams. Then it will be Salvi, who finishes 14th there. Then it's going to be not Race Chase, but his teammate Andrew. 3rd place for him. And then Rush Siri comes in with a 2nd place immediately after, pipping Race Chase. But Race Chase will start, well, let's hand on heart here, in 3rd place, but at the moment Danger David still on the flyer. Is approaching a Kick-Sauber in front. Will the kickstart give way? Yes, he will. And so that allows Danger David free air going into the final corner. And let's see what the Mercedes can do. On board with him through the final straight. It is only 10th place. He is almost a second down on his teammate. And that concludes qualifying. And, well, one of the biggest shocks in there. The Aston Martin's getting 3rd and 4th. Just to give you an idea, Aston going into tonight with 111 points, 58 points behind the leaders of Alpine in the constructors. Well, Herman is the only one flying that flag for the French team tonight. As Fox says, changed my name, by the way, from that guy 5001 to the current name. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Thank you very much for letting me know. But anyway, just to kind of, like, you know, break it all down, Andy Andre taking pole position, going into tonight, 42 points behind the championship leader, Rush the Series. But Rush the Series right behind him in second place. So it is going to be all about the start. And then, of course, DRS will not be in effect until 3 laps because there's only one DRS zone. Now, when DRS is activated on the second lap, it is the next DRS zone where it will officially come into use. So it will... So officially, well, yes, DRS is activated on lap 2. It's not really going to be in effect till lap 3. But otherwise, that is going to be it for a few minutes. We will be right back with you very, very shortly. We will bring you about either 29 or 28 laps around the Lusail International Circuit. Don't go anywhere. Let's hope for a good one. Just so everybody knows, it is a 7:58 start, so just for your time zones, that's 4 minutes from now. It's 58 minutes past the hour. See you then. Welcome on in, everybody, and welcome back to round 9 in Qatar. We're at the Lusail circuit, and of course, just for a bit of history for you, this is what happened last time. Andy Andre was winner in the kick back in Season 6. Second went to Robastian, which was a huge championship contender for that season, and then Andrew in third as well. The one time we saw the Romanian triple podium, and then Baron Brooks took fourth, with fifth being Race Chase. Driver of the day went to Race Chase. Pole went to Andy Andre, with fastest up going to Mr. Walter during the race, and who holds the lap record in the SSRL universe. But anyway, we are about to get underway. It is 58 minutes past the hour. We will have a formation lap, and then, of course, we will bring you several laps of action. How many? Not quite sure at the moment, so just give us a moment there to just get all that there, because I wasn't quite looking at the lobby when we began. But otherwise, I think we have one heck of an exciting race. Obviously, just kind of remind you, coming into tonight after some controversy or drama, drama is the better word in this regard and more accurate to what we're talking about. Babish, of course, had a bit of a moment, to put it lightly, last week in Vegas. Tried to overtake Danger David on the final corner, and then that sadly ended in catastrophe. And, well, Babish was deemed at fault for some shenanigans afterwards, and he was handed a penalty that dropped him down to 13th, and tonight he will serve a 63-second penalty for everything that happened. But now we are on the formation lap, and let's just go through your order one last time. Andy Andre starts in pole position. Name a more familiar duo than SSRL and Andy, and pole positions. In fact, name a more iconic trio. It is Babish. Sorry, it's Ruster Siri in second place there. Currently trying to get a good start on his championship rival in front, trying to make sure that outside chance doesn't become an inside chance. Race Chase with a fantastic qualifying there. Third place for him. Andrew in fourth. Starts right behind him. Maybe the two can help each other out. Quincy in fifth position. Energetic taking sixth place. Herman starting seventh. Has a bit of work to do, and not the best position you want to be in, especially considering the racetrack. Fellow Son hoping to go long on his one and only stop. Will do the same as Mr. Walter, both starting 8th and 9th respectively. 10th place Danger David will have wanted to have been higher up than that. 11th is Moksha. Tarkangino is 12th. Kwan is 13th. Salvi, 14th place there. Maybe just getting a bit of confidence boost before Division 2 tomorrow night. Sir Ibo and Bruiser, the only two on soft tyres, with Babish right at the back there, who of course will be serving a 63 post-race penalty and has 8 penalty points, so maximising that threshold. So the 8 penalty points that he served added up to a penalty, and that's what he'll be serving post-race. Of course, served a qualifying ban on top of that as well. But Babish taking it hands down, putting his hands up, admitting that he was in fault, and we will go to see what happens now, because Andy is about to line up the 16 drivers behind him. Rush the series starts alongside on that dirtier side of the track. Will he get the getaway that he needs? Race Chase in prime position here to take anything away if these two start drama into turn 1. We are waiting for the lights to count down. Babish gets ready to get into his grid slot and will be underway in a few moments' time. Sir Ibo failed to get into his grid spot correctly. He is disqualified from the warm-up lap, not the race. And now a countdown begins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Qatar, and I think Rush the Siri there actually got the better start, because you haven't seen Andy Andre cover him off. Look at this, 3 wide down the straight there as well for second place, third place even, and Rush the Siri to the inside. Andy Andre though with the better traction, but look at this, a King Sauber is getting involved as well. That's Energetic going side by side with Quincy, and he gets the move done, but goes wide in the process and may have to give something back, and in fact he did, because that's allowed Herman the German to get through as well, as their Race Chase lost out onto his teammate. Rush the Siri also goes wide, and all sorts of chaos there happening at the start of this race, but Race Chase not staying where it was. Babish already up 7 positions, and while this could turn into controversy if he's not lucky, bit of a moment from Moksha, but Babish gets through in the end. And of course Mr. Walter was very unhappy with the shenanigans from Babish last week, although I say shenanigans like it was a bit on purpose. It would have been funny if it had the 2 mandatory stops like the IRL Qatar Grand Prix. I think I would have It's not safe for stream. I wouldn't, let's put it this way, I wouldn't have been very happy. But either way, we are currently resuming. Andy Andre, taking the lead to the Grand Prix, has held off Rush the Series on lap 1 like he needed to do, and has now got a pretty comfortable gap towards the end of this lap. Andy is just best of the rest yet again, and is proving why he is a 5-time world champion. But is it all too little too late? Well, here we go. Quincy is now getting alongside the American of Race Chase there. Slots back in for now to get that slipstream, and now he is hoping to finish better than he did in Vegas, where he just planted it in the wall. And Quincy finds the inside of the Aston Martin, gets the move done. Easy as you like. The top 7 that started are all on medium tyres, and that's actually what most of the grid have done. And already Babish has made his way up into 9th place. This would be a good drive so far if he wasn't serving a penalty towards the end of this race. Andy Andre now 2 seconds ahead of the leading of this pair for, well, of this pack for the battle for second. It is unseparated from 2nd to 14th place here. Quan is 2.5 seconds behind, ahead of Sir Ibo and Bruiser. Neither Haas could take advantage of the soft tyre, as Babish makes his way through for 8th place here, doing maximum damage control. There's not really a lot more he can do. Maybe trying to get the lead of this race and try and run away with it. Well, he's got a long way to go, and he's carving his way through the field so far. So this is actually becoming a nice little drive towards the first couple of laps. But does he have the tyres to kind of take it to his first pit stop? We're of course going to have to wait and see on that one, and see how the pace either improves or decays throughout the stint. But now we are surely about to see our first set of DRS action, because the DRS, while activated on the last lap, it won't be in effect till this lap. Andy Andre takes the fastest lap of the race by far and away. Andrew will have DRS, but nowhere near close enough to rush the series as we go into turn 1. What about anybody else here? What about Herman? What about Energetic? Nobody moves there. That was a rather still pack there as we went into turn 1, as Sir Ibo and Bruiser actually swapped positions there. Both Haas drivers try to work together maybe, but with those soft tyres, they're already 6.7 seconds behind. Quan there in 15th for the only point there. Well, points being from 15th to 1st. I really don't see their fortunes coming any further forward. In fact, I only see them getting lapped, and maybe lapped by not just 1, but maybe 2 laps as well. So the Haas driver's really off the pace tonight, and already 8.2 seconds away from Quan, ahead within 3 laps. At the moment now, we are currently still going to probably be seeing this as a pretty much a nose-to-tail pack, because there's not really much overtaking that can happen. Everybody in a large DRS train through the start, finish straight. And of course, like we kept saying, qualifying was the most important session, unless if you're Race Chase, who started on 3rd place, has lost 2 positions already. And, well, let's see. Here we go, because Andrew just had a mistake through the final corner. This is really the only real overtaking opportunity you can have, unless if you can carry the momentum through into turn 2 and maybe try again there. But here we go. Is Quincy going to be close enough to have a go? Nope, not quite. Has to stay behind, because Andrew had the DRS from Rush the Series and the slipstream as well. As we go on to lap 4 out of 29, this 3.3 mile circuit here doesn't usually provide the best of racing, if I'm being honest with you. It's kind of more one on pit strategy. Who is going to undercut who could go longest on those tyres? I know several drivers will be thinking about it, many of the experienced SSRL members as well, even in the league racing sphere as well. Certainly Babish might be thinking about something. Dage David and Fellow Son will certainly be thinking about something. Fellow Son there, down 2 positions as well. Looked very quick in qualifying, but he just didn't quite have the pace there to get into the top 5, unlike he was. Well, he was actually in 7th place last week, but then all that stuff happened at the end, and then all of a sudden found himself 2nd place, and despite his post-race penalty, was able to finish 2nd place there. Of course, he incurred some track limit violations, and all of a sudden now, actually, speaking of gaps, we are currently looking at Andrew being left behind by Rush the Series. And all of a sudden now, Quincy might have a prime opportunity here to overtake for third place. Let's see what he can do out of the final corner. A bit of a squirrely moment there as he gets on the throttle on the exit there. And you can see there is a big long train of cars as we go down into turn one. Surely now Quincy's going to see his opportunity. Andrew even feels the pressure, but Quincy just wasn't quite close enough. But that's a massive lockup from the Aston Martin on his front right there. Quincy goes side by side. Can he carry the momentum through turn two? He absolutely can. And round the outside he goes into third place. What a move by Quincy that was, as now all of a sudden Babish and Energetic go side by side, and we're seeing a couple of overtakes in a short space of time. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Babish has been spun round by Energetic. And oh no, what transpired last week has transpired again, and in a very familiar way. Sort of. But it just looked like neither car was going to give up, and Babish got tagged by Energetic. Not saying Energetic or Babish was at fault there. I didn't really have the best of views there, it is to be said. But goodness me, Babish there involved in yet another moment. And that has sent him all the way down to 15th place. And all of a sudden, what was looking like a promising drive has all of a sudden turned into absolute disaster. And all of a sudden, the Haas is gifted points just based on post-race penalties alone. Tarkangino gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And well, what a ton of events here. The Williams is really going to be suffering now. And Babish is already behind Quan here, so let's see what Babish can do. He's going to have to make yet another recovery, as now all of a sudden there's more battling at the front. We see somebody's hand there in the middle of the camera frame. But now we see Danger David up into 7th place, but 2.8 seconds away from Herman the German. And while we have our first moment, Energetic and Babish get into contact, spinning Babish round, and he gets a 3-second time penalty, and that will mean he will serve 66 seconds post-race. He is going to be nowhere by the end of this. It's really like the Hulkenberg and Gasly, so Babish didn't see Energetic, who didn't get space at all. And Babish is already oh, goodness me, Babish already has lost his call. That has now gone up to 60... That has gone up to 69 nice seconds. You're welcome. Anyway, we're going to see Babish try... Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I didn't want to... That was a bit heart and mouth moment there, and Quan already is fighting back here. Oh god, don't go side by side through here. Surely not. And there you go. And somehow Babish and Quan avoid making further contact, and that is all said and done. Either way, bit of a scare there, as Danger David is first into the pit lane, and as soon as we say that, Quincy is overtaken by Andrew. Andrew with a nice move there into third place, back into third place, I should say. Oh no! Babish has spun round! This is a nightmare for the championship contender. What has happened? Has he had a puncture? He's frustrated. He's absolutely frustrated. He's gone. He's gone. And that means, if I know the rules correctly, that penalty carries over into next week. If I have read these rules correctly, that will now not be served. And that has to now be served next week. So Babish has now really dug himself too deep of a hole. It's over. His championship chances are done. That is a really sad way to end everything. But I am almost certain, if I have read this correctly, if you retire within the race and you retire in the pit lane, especially, that means you serve your penalty in the next race. That will not be removed from the results. So now Babish, who didn't qualify, serving his qualifying ban, so he won't have another qualifying ban. But he will have that 63 seconds hanging over him next week, and well, that is certainly the last thing we would have wanted. So really now, what was a 3-car championship could still be a 3-car championship if Andy Andre can find a bit more groove here. well, what would have been a 4-car battle, but either way, Andy Andre really helping his cause here. 4.1 seconds ahead of Rush the Siri. He is in control at the moment, and Danger David has played the undercut game here, so keep an eye on him for future pit stops. We're just going to have to wait and see here, because surely we'll have to start seeing drivers react to that Mercedes pitting in. But either way, David playing the team game here and is hoping to give Andy a bit more of a boost there. Now remember, 26 points on offer, but Andy with the fastest lap, you do get a point for fastest lap, so that means 27 points on offer. He needs all of them, so that'll bring his total up to 115 points if things stay as they are right now. Sir Ibo with a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. Either way, one of the Haas drivers is guaranteed at least a point. But, you know, you got to say, if you're one of the Haas, if you're a Haas supporter, that's not where you want to see your cars be, as surely Quincy has DRS. Does Andrew have DRS? Only just, but Quincy doesn't have DRS. Does he not realise he has it, or did he just not be within the detection point there? I think, yeah, because the detection point is just after turn 15 there, which is, of course, that little left-handed kink. That means... how many points are still to collect after this GP? So if you include this one, just for entertainment's sake, so there's 4 races to go, including tonight. So next week we're off to Abu Dhabi, then it's Miami, then it's the Mystery Grand Prix. So that's 27 times 4 maximum points anyway. That is 54, 81, 108 points are still on offer at the moment. So it's not impossible for Andy to come back into this with a 42-point deficit going into tonight, and I think that Vegas Grand Prix might be a slow turning point in this championship. Now, just to remind you, if Rush the Siri continues as he is, he'll get 21 points, but it will only be a 6-point swing, which obviously won't be good enough. So that means, let's see, let's have a think, 42 minus 6, that's 36 points going into the final 3 races, and to be honest, at that point, anything can happen. Anything really could happen. And he starts lap 10 out of 29, and at the moment we haven't seen much movement in the way of overtaking. It's only Danger David that's come into the pits here, but isn't really making any kind of impression. We're not really seeing anybody dive into the pits or react to him. Maybe they know their race is not with him, but we are seeing Mr. Walter and Moksha make a swap here for 9th place. And well, Moksha must have had a mistake there, because he was nowhere near, as Salvi has had a moment. Oh, it's a puncture on the front left. Puncture on the front left. And surely that means we're going to start seeing a flurry of pit stops. Oh, and he's knocked the timing boards as well. I think that is that a penalty? I think that could be a penalty coming his way for knocking the pit lane speeding board. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. Maybe he will get away with that with the puncture, which obviously wasn't caused by him. But either way, this battle for second place just really hasn't moved. And now both Hasses are in the points. So at least that'll be 3 points going to the American team. But if Salvi just kind of gets his foot down, he should be able to overtake them. Not a problem. He has been faster than both Bruiser and Sir Ibo from a week-to-week basis. What I would really be interested to ask Kerman here is that, you know, in the commentary of the weekend just gone, obviously, Alex Jake said that there's about 0.8 of a second difference that you need to overtake the car in front of you. And I just would like to know, because obviously Herman, who is currently running 6th, will be with us in the commentary box tomorrow. I would imagine that difference would also be replicated in the game. But here we go. Quincy is looking a bit vulnerable here. Race Chase makes a move. It feels like it's been an eternity since he last did, as Danger David gets a 3-second track limits penalty here. And, well, all of this group will be hoping that Kwan here can hold up Danger David for as long as he can, as Salvi gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations a few moments after. So let's have a look at Danger David. Wasn't close enough to Kwan there with the DRS detection point, but doesn't even need DRS. He gets that done on pure straight line pace, and I don't think Kwan really put up much of a fight there. Knew who was faster in that scenario and just decided to say, you know what, David, you're fine. I'm not fighting you at all. Let's just get on with this. But another thing I'm also starting to notice is that Rush the Siri is bringing down the gap to Andy. Maybe there's just been a mistake somewhere around the lap, but that's now at 3.3 seconds as we go on to, well, come to the end of lap 11, and we'll be on to lap 12 in a few moments' time. I'm starting to think that Andy Andre may not be as safe as he once was, and Rush the Series able to look after his tyres just that little better. Let's see what he can do. Remember, 108 points are still on offer here before the end of, well, before the end of this race. And then once that goes down, it is down to 81 points. And here we go. Into the pits goes Rush the Series, and the undercut begins. So now you look to Danger David as, oh, Herman with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's going to probably ruin him a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. But either way, it is now all eyes Danger David and Rush the Series. Rush the Series should be just about okay. Keep an eye on the turquoise green dot on your screen. In fact, there you go. Look at Danger David to the right hand side of your frame. It is absolutely important Rush the Series gets out ahead, as is for Herman the German. Herman won't be successful, but Rush the Series will. So undercut advantage goes straight to him. Danger David tried to play the team game, just didn't quite work. And now Rush the Series comes out ahead of the Mercedes driver, who was hoping to impede Rush the Series not in his race to catch the lead, but sadly that's not going to happen. The only advantage David is going to have is warmer tyres than Rush the Series, but whether that comes into effect or not is another matter, as Rush the Series very wide there through what is turn number 6 as they approach turn number 7 now. And I think Rush the Series has got this one under control, don't you? As we'll now look away as Bruiser has come into the pits, and after 11 laps on those soft tyres, that'll be the same for Sir Ibo once he makes his pit stop. But yeah, no, they've really lasted a long time on those softs, so they're going to have to be happy with that. As now, well, let's have a look as all people into the pit lane. Andy Andre, this is the one to look out for. Danger David was not able to really make a dent, as now the Aston Martin of Andrew also comes into the pit lane. Race Chase will be your leader for the time being, but Rush the Series is going to be oh so close. He's just coming down the start finish straight now. In fact, I say that as there's been a yellow flag in Sector 1. Rush the Series not even close there. He will have the warmer tyres as they exit, but will Quincy get in between them? No, there he is, just on the right-hand side of your frame now on the exit. And Danger David is actually on medium tyres. He sacrificed his own race to try and help Andy Andre, and it's just not quite worked out for him. So it's about half a second the gap, and Danger David found no way through. But also for Rush the Series, it is just a bit of pressure that he wouldn't want at the start of this stint. So he's got to go all the way to the end, as does Andy Andre. But Danger David, his tyres will fall off before the end of this Grand Prix. But he has sacrificed his race in order to help Andy Andre. And, well, it was a valiant effort where the least he could probably do is hold off Herman the German, because if he gets his 10-second penalty removed in the steward's room, that's really all I could see him doing. But here we go. We are seeing a very close battle for the lead there. A bit of a red light on the right-hand side there as Race Chase. Oh, it's had a puncture! Race Chase has had a puncture! And what was promising to be an absolutely amazing race for the American has turned into an absolute disaster. What happened to Salvi a couple of laps ago has happened to the Aston Martin, and that is so unfortunate now, because surely that means we're going to see Race Chase drop down the order. He'll pop on a fresh set of hard tyres. But there you go, he begins his descent down the order, and he will be heartbroken from that. Herman will also gain a position in all of that, and Energetic and Quincy are actually about to do battle here for his 8th place. This is not where I expected Quincy to see at the exit of his pit lane, but there we go. Energetic then gets a 3-second penalty, and we have cut away at the wrong moment, but luckily we had another camera angle at play. They are going side by side on the exit of turn 3. Will Quincy try round the outside through here? Surely not, my guy. And well, he is going to. He is crazy. We saw Babish and his teammate make contact at this very corner, and it's not happened there. Well, we saw Babish and Energetic make contact there. That's what I meant to say. But either way, Quincy and Energetic far cleaner there. Shows you how it's done. And that is pretty much game, set, and match for the time being between those two. But one Williams survives Energetic, the other did not. I do think that, of course, Babish will be serving as per the rules, if I've read them correctly. Of course, Babish here has not finished tonight's race. He retired early on, and I'm afraid to say that he could be serving that penalty next week as well. And so all of a sudden, his race has completely been thrown away. His championship has been thrown away. It was about damage control tonight. And, well, the only damage that he's... the only damage that he has controlled is the one he didn't have. Unfortunately for him, it's just kind of gone down the drain for him in this second half of the season, as now Energetic and Quincy do battle yet again. Energetic goes back past 8th place. Maybe these two are working together somehow, even though that is a funny way to do it, with Quincy going around the outside at turns 4 and 5 there. But either way, an epic battle between them, and making the race somewhat entertaining, as we have now passed the halfway point of the Qatar Grand Prix. 29 laps, of course, is the decided count for a half-distance Grand Prix. And at the moment now, obviously, Andy Andre just taking the fastest lap of the race on hard tyres. Of course, every point critical for his championship hunt. I will probably ask him again just to see if his mind changed. It is going to be, as things stand right now, a 36-point deficit going into the final 3 races. And Quincy just hoping to honestly finish this race. He qualified in 5th place tonight, but has found himself a bit in the wars early on in this second stint. And he is currently trying to find a way past the Kick-Sauber of Energetic, trying not to fight too hard. Of course, Quincy has the fresher tyres, but it won't be much of a difference. It's only a 2-lap difference. And of course, Energetic with a post-race penalty to serve towards the end of this as well. Post-race penalty is at 3 seconds, and Herman is at 10 seconds. And there's a bunch of Hask drivers getting out of the way there, trying to make sure they don't impede anybody's race, as Herman there is getting rather close to the back of the Aston Martin of Andrew here. Another Hask driver there going rides just to allow the cars through. Energetic and Quincy remain gridlocked in their respective positions as well. And there we go. So another lap is completed here, but now we have a yellow flag again for the slow-moving vehicle of the Haas, just allowing everybody through. Just to give you an idea of where they are in the intervals. I think they have gone 1 lap down, and I'm kind of expecting them to go down another lap, as Bruiser has disconnected. He's the sole Haas driver. Well, he's the Haas driver with a .2 his race so far. Oh, and Bruiser has actually just put in something in the Discord. Everything just went black on me, and I can't get back on. Hope my AI doesn't screw anyone over. So Bruiser actually has had some technical issues there. And fellow Sun VR has now gone as long as he possibly can on those hard tyres. Could that be secretly genius? You never know. But Andy Andre has just pulled out all the stops yet again. 5 seconds. And he is already away from Rush the Siri. I just don't see Rush the Siri catching this one, I'm afraid. Rush the Siri is again just going to have to succumb to being second best here. Round another track where it looked like he actually matched the pace of the Mercedes in front of him, but when it's come down to the race, he's just been absolutely nowhere. He's also checked out from Danger David as well. That's at over 2 seconds. So Andrew now has just surely got one of the most academic overtakes coming up in a few moments' time. The German as well, just trying to do damage control for his own race. A 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And Quincy as well, starting to make his way back up the field, and has gone ahead of both fellow Sun and Race Chase respectively. Still a few things to play for. I think the win of this race has completely faded away for anybody else other than Andy Andre. 6 seconds now as we are approaching the final 13 laps of what has been a rather quiet Qatar Grand Prix. But did you expect anything less? I certainly didn't. As we are now going to go follow this battle for 3rd place here, which has just got a couple of asterisks on it. Andrew is the only one without a penalty in this group, and that was very close to probably getting a track limits warning there from his race engineer, Mark. And now at the DRS detection point, Danger David is going to be under serious pressure from not 1, but 2 cars behind. And one of them is Andy Andre's direct rival, who is going to gain big time on him. Danger David all the way to the inside there. DRS will open for both the Aston and the Alpine. Alpine, of course, coming into tonight, top of the constructors' standings here. And Danger David all the way to the inside. Andrew wants to go all the way to the outside to maximise the momentum. Bit of contact between the two, but that is Andrew through into 3rd place, and has now got 3 seconds on Rush the Siri. Can he get that gap down, as Andy Andre there with a rare 3-second penalty for track limit violations, as Mr. Walter has overtaken Race Chase there for 10th place. So Race Chase now starting to fall down the order as well. Could have been a good race for him, but sadly just hasn't come his way. And so now the next target for the next target for Herman is now Danger David, who Andrew just got past, and he's going to try and get it done as early as he possibly can. This is turn number 6 here, and that is risky stuff, but incredible stuff. That is Herman at his absolute clinically best, and he has just got past Danger David in one of the most important moves, but not only his championship, but for his own race there. And, well, if there's a late safety car called, it would be a rather huge turning point here. And that would mean that Herman is essentially handed an absolute gift. But whether or not that happens is another matter. It's very rare to see a Qatar safety car in this game. I certainly haven't seen one in my time commentating over this game, as we've started lap 19 out of 29, and even with Andy's post-race penalty, he is 8.2 seconds down the road. But look at this, Herman has clawed his way back to Andrew's 1 second gap, but Danger David hasn't let these two go, as Fellow Son and Quincy are going to go side by side into turn 1. All of a sudden, this has got very exciting indeed. Fellow Son has just got past the both of them. He's got no stakes in this championship, may I just add, but with him being on the medium tyres till the end of this race, his tyres are better and fresher than everybody else's, and 2 laps in, well, he's gonna be good till the end of this Grand Prix. He is gonna be on fine form. He could even get a podium out of all of this, which could really upset the apple cart with Herman, especially. And of course Andrew as well. Andrew looking for a podium. It feels like it's been a very long time since we saw him last on any kind of podium. I don't quite know how far back you would have to go to see when Andrew was last on the podium, but it certainly feels like it's been a very long time coming. I'll try and see if I can check while we are still here, at least in terms of Division 1. Definitely wasn't on the podium in Las Vegas, that is for certain. And Imola as well. I don't think he was there either, on the podium that is. But either way, I'll keep checking for you, as now we are going to start these lot are going to start lap 20 out of 29. Andy has already far away down the road and already approaching turn 1. But what a race is turning into be, and Danger David into the pit lane for his second and final stop. Was just hoping to help out Andy in any way, but didn't quite work out. And already Herman is right on the back of Andrew, who is already getting onto the back of Rush the Series. This is good for his own little race, as Mr. Welter and Moksha yet again swap positions. Well, I say yet again, but Mr. Welter seems to be the one on the charge, and Race Chase is just following behind him at a few tenths per corner. It has been a bit of a quiet affair, this one. Of course, Bavish getting into a couple of collisions here and there, and Bavish having a rather unfortunate race. But of course, just to remind you, if he was to finish and you have just joined us for the first time, well, after a major incident, as now Andrew gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violation. So all of a sudden, Rush the Series, his podium is starting to look a lot more safer than it was certainly a couple of laps ago. So now Rush the Series can be afforded to be overtaken. He won't make it easy for the Aston Martin, I can guarantee you that. But now he can try looking at the bigger picture and saying, okay, well, the driver behind me has a 3-second penalty. As long as I can just use this DRS and keep up with him throughout the first few corners here, right up until the DRS detection point, I should be okay. So Rush the Series can start to relax a little bit and look at the bigger picture. As Hassel says hello, welcome on into the stream. We've certainly been treated, well, I say we've been treated to a race, but we've kind of been treated to as good of a race you can get in Qatar here, that is for certain. But either way, it has been certainly one of twists and turns. Bavish, who had the massive penalty from last week's shall we say drama, for lack of a better word, has sadly retired from the race after contact with Energetic and trying to recover the race there. He just wasn't successful and incurred 6 more seconds in penalties, which meant that you heard this and you heard this first. He was serving a 69-second penalty towards the end of this race. I kid you not. But sadly, he will have to wait until next week now to serve that, because he has retired from the race. So that will more than likely carry over into the next Grand Prix, which that's unfortunate for him, but sadly kind of self-inflicted due to what has happened on the track tonight for him. So Now, one driver I've been keeping an eye on over the last few laps is Fellow Sun on the fresher tyres than everybody else. Has got up to the back of Herman the German here. Andy has already started lap 22, so there's 8 laps to go. But already Fellow Sun is starting to carve his way through the field. And, well, he got a lucky break in Vegas after Bavish, David and Andy made contact on the final corner of the final lap. But now, on strategy alone, Fellow Sun has been given an opportunity as we see Energetic and Quincy go side by side there. Energetic had to avoid a bit of a late move potentially from the Williams driver, but he gets through as Race Chase also gets through into turn 1 from the first DRS zone. As now Fellow Sun with the better tyres, and Herman just had nothing to fight with there. He's had to allow the Red Bull through, and it is becoming a rather miserable second half of the season for him. He's going to lose ground to Rush the Series. Now, luckily, we don't have to worry any extra points. We know where that's going. But now, Fellow Sun could really upset Rush the Series even more. So we'll keep an eye on that. But either way, let's kind of keep our head where it should be. Now, where were we? Sorry about that. Give me a moment. So, let's calculate the points as they stand right now. Big ifs here, if Herman is to have that penalty removed for the 10-second, well, that would be a 14-point deficit to Andy. Now, going into tonight, those two had a difference of 27 points. So, that would bring it down to 12 points there, going into the final 3 races. And then for Andy Andre, if he is overtaken... Polystyrene board has gone flying there. I completely missed that. And Quincy down to the inside of turn 1 as well. But that's not going to really change anything as things stand right now. And actually, I'm noticing Fellow Sun isn't really catching Andrew at the moment. Well, then again, maybe he is. And I'm just not keeping an eye on the gap as closely as I thought I was. Hang on a moment. Let's see. Yeah, no, it looks like Fellow Sun is still bringing down that gap. It's now at 1.8 seconds as they go through. Let's see, where is this? As Danger David gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. That's what you want towards the end of this Grand Prix. He's at the moment now as Bruiser and Sir Ivo are swapping positions as well. So Bruiser's AI is having a bit of a good recovery. I don't know if Bruiser has found a way back into the lobby, but he has had a bit of technical issues tonight. Penalty removed between the pit lane? I don't think so. Okay, because I know it can be a glitch sometimes, but if Drugster says it cannot be removed, then it cannot be removed. A lot of penalties, I see. Yep, pretty much there. Mostly track limit violations, but obviously Herman, exception to the rule there. 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. So Drugster saying that will not be removed, as Quan then got a 3-second penalty, and that's got his total up to 6 seconds there. So not been the best of evenings. For the let's see, for the Mercedes driver there, or no, the Ferrari driver, as Quincy there to the inside of turn 1. 6 laps to go, and gets moved on for 6th place, but I don't think they're going any higher than that, as Fellow Sun, sorry I missed that, got past Herman the German. Oh, actually, no, he did that earlier on, didn't he? And he's been catching this group ever since, and now Rush the Series is looking like he's in a bit of trouble, because if that gap becomes a 9-point gap swinging towards Andy Andre, all of a sudden, that's a 32-point gap going into the final 3 races, where there would be a maximum of 81 points available. And just to remind you now, Andy Andre has the fastest lap of this race by far and away of 1:23.8. Don't see that being beaten anytime soon. Can Fellow Sun do something to help Andy's championship here and make this a final few laps of entertainment for all of us? There'll be 4 laps to go at the... No, there'll be 5 laps to go at the line, beg your pardon, because we're on 25 out of 29, not 26 out of 29. And here we go. Battle for second is going to begin right now. This is it. This is your time. And Rush the Series now needs to put up the most stubborn defense for the final 5 laps. Andrew will get DRS, but so will Fellow Sun. He's got the fresher tyres of everybody. 5 laps over Rush the Series. 4 laps over Andrew and 5 laps over Herman behind there, and Herman has been checked out from. And look at the cornering grip the Red Bull has as it goes through turn 1, through to turn 2. Maybe an overtake will happen sooner rather than later, and I think Andrew didn't realise how much of an advantage the Red Bull had, because now it's at 0.2 of a second. Fellow Son kind of sticks his nose out to say, I am here, and Andrew there doesn't react, isn't fazed by it, but either way, he is going to try and something as now Danger David gets past Talcagino for 11th place here. Will that matter in the grand scheme of things if he can make up the next 2.5 seconds in the next 5 laps? Yes, it will, because he has 14 seconds to Moksha. He's not bringing that down, so I think his focus now is to solidify 11th place and just take it from there. But this is the battle we are all watching now. The battle for second. Quincy and Energetic are in a battle for 6th place. But, of course, Energetic with more post-race penalties. 6 seconds to serve. He can serve it in the pits. Wouldn't be too great an idea to pit again. Yeah, Herman can remove the penalty by pitting again, but I don't think he would pit again. Yeah, that is correct. He can. Thank you very much, though, Trugster, for clarifying the rule there. And here we go. Fellow Son is now coming back with Andrew and Rustasiri. And here we go again. 4 laps to go at the line. Can Rustasiri hang on? He's doing a good job so far, as Kwan has had a moment. And he's in the barrier, potentially. He's trying to get out. He's going to need to hurry up. This will not help his teammate at all if this becomes a safety car. He needs to hurry up. He does so, he gets back moving, but he's facing the wrong way as well. And he's back underway there, and, well, that is absolute heartbreak there for Kwan, who is down to 14th. And luckily, we do not, well, luckily for everybody's sake here, we do not get any kind of safety car, not even a VSC. And as Kwan did well to get back underway there. And that might be just one of the closest calls for a Qatar safety car we've ever had in this SSRL universe. So this is a racing league. It might not go down as a classic, but either way, in terms of the championship, this could have serious ramifications here, like yesterday did in real life. Now the SSRL universe can have its turn, potentially, if Fellow Son can make his way past these 2 cars in front of him. It would be a 9-point swing towards Andy Andre, and 32 points between him and a 6th champion in a row. But here we go, Andrew looking like he's one on the charge here. He's going to go to the inside of turn 1. Thinks twice about it, but understeers as he goes through the mid-corner, and Fellow Son is allowed to catch up a little bit there, but not by enough to get a position, as Race Chase now up into 8th place. 3.4 seconds separate him from Quincy, but I do not see that gap being caught up, as now Fellow Son has made a move. 3rd place. And now all of a sudden Rustasiri has got the most amount of pressure to hang on, because now there is a genuine race for 2nd place, and Fellow Son has the better tyres. Ain't got happening anymore with 3 to 4 laps to go. Absolutely. Ferrari trying to bring SC out. Dodgy AF, as says Trugster there. So, that might be under investigation towards the end of this race. But either way, the safety car will not come out in these final 3 laps. It will be, well, it won't even be a VSC at minimum. And now, here we go. This is the nightmare that Rustasiri does not want. We go through 12, 13 and 14. Kwan is in front of him, but not by enough for Rustasiri to benefit from any kind of DRS. It's just, unfortunately, not going to go his way. And all of a sudden, this is not what Rustasiri needs going into the championship leader in the final 3 rounds. Could have maximum pressure if Fellow Son could get this done. 2 laps to go. Rustasiri, who's been saving his battery, is using it now. But who has the better drive? We know Fellow Son can make turns 4 and 5 work for him. He may not get the move done here, but he is oh so close to the back of the Ferrari. And now a lap 28 out of 29. We see another swap between Quincy and Energetic. But of course, that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Energetic with a 6-second post-race penalty coming his way for track limit violations. But we are now looking at this. Fellow Son, who got 2nd last week in the Haas of all cars, is now looking at a potential, well, he's looking at a 2nd podium for the 2nd race in a row. But could he make that another second place for the second time in a row? Let's wait and see. We'll have one last opportunity at the line to get that done, or he will have 3.3 miles of racetrack to try and make a move in an unexpected area. And I just wonder if he's saving his best for the final lap of the race. You can't really blame him. Let's have a look at the battery charge. He is at over 50%. What about Rush Nasiri? He's at over 70% now. So either way, this is pressure cooker time for Rush Nasiri, who is charging and charging. Fellow Sun will do the same, but he is oh so close. He was oh so close to a track limits violation there. He has gotten very, very, very tight to the Ferrari in front, but Andrew is also behind there. If anybody makes these mistakes, here we go. One more lap. 3.3 miles to go. Or is it 3.6? No, it's 3.3. Here we go. And there we go. Fellow Sun is approaching Rush Nasiri to the inside to defend from this, but the outside line isn't always catastrophic if you have the right tyre. Fellow Sun with a bit of a moment as he goes on the exit of turn 1 through turn 2 now. The Ferrari is basically being pushed through the corner. Here's where Fellow Sun has made overtakes. He's not close enough at this time of asking, and I think that will be it. At the moment, it will be a 6-point swing going to Andy Andre. He couldn't make it work, could Fellow Sun, but either way, he certainly gave it a last gasp, and it is, I think, going to settle itself down. But there's another battle happening at the back here. This is for 6th place. We already said this doesn't matter, as Quincy will have this place regardless due to Energetic's 6-second post-race penalty and potentially more. But here we go. Fellow Sun again is still trying to make moves as he's now going to do the over-under. He's going to use the remaining amount of his battery, or will he? He's going to have to try and save some for the final corner here. He's got the ultimate slipstream, he's got the ultimate grip, and this is oh so close. He can't find a way through. This is going to be so painful for the Red Bull. And here we go again, and Andy Andre wins in Qatar, but this is where the championship ramifications are. Oh no! To the inside, and Fellow Sun just a bit too deep there. Contact between the two, and I think Rush Nasiri will be allowed that position, and that will be Fellow Sun into 3rd place. There we go. That was, by the way, just for those that are confused, Fox there is that guy, by the way. He's changed his name, as now Race Chase will get 6th position. Herman down to 7th place there. That penalty will not be removed, so another major loss there for the German driver, as Danger David now finishes 10th place. Moksha will be 11th. Tarkangino will come home 12th. Salvi, Kwan, Bruiser, all down a lap, will finish their respective races, and there we go. That's all said and done. And now, well, a 6-point swing for Andy Andre. It could have been a 9-point swing if Fellow Sun had picked his moment, but pushed the Ferrari through the final corner. I think he decided to back out of that and just thought, no, I'm not going to risk a penalty. And we'll see what happens after that race. But either way, Andy Andre with another dominant win, 13 seconds ahead of the pack behind, and Andy is just a guy who's 1 in a million, and he is still in that championship fight with 81 points left on the road. After tonight, anything can happen. Race winner, obviously we know who that is, who took fastest up as well, so he gets the maximum 27 points. Driver of the day was Fellow Sun. Most overtakes was Danger David, but your cleanest driver, Rush Nasiri. And your unofficial results coming out of Qatar, Andy, Rush, and Fellow Sun are your podium sitters, with 4th and 5th being Andrew and Quincy. 6th to 10th is Race Chase, Herman, Wouter, Energetic, and Danger David. 11th to 15th is Moksha, Tarkangino, Salvi, Kwan, Bruiser, with 16th to 17th being Certibo, and your non-finisher, only one tonight, Bavish. Anyway, we are now going to go to some top 3 race interviews, and we'll see what everyone has to say. But either way, let's get ready and start to kind of analyze that race. Not really a lot of action happening there. It was kind of a bit it was already decided within the pit strategies. It looked like Rush Nasiri had the better tyre wear on the mediums, but when it came down to the hard tyres, Andy just flew down the road. There was just no way he could catch. There was just no way he could catch him. And, well, Andy Andre now breaks in to the 100 points now. So he's going to have 115 points going into next week. And all of a sudden, it's just looking like the tides are changing race by race by race. I really cannot tell you which way this is going to go week by week. It is just so unreal. And Rush the Siri got second place there, but I think that was the generosity of fellow Sun there, just trying to make sure he didn't get a penalty post race, because I think he realized, well, that's just pointless to try anything. But right now, I think we do have somebody in here. We have two of our podium sitters. We just need to wait for our third one, if they will be making an appearance. As of right now, let's just have a quick look. Yeah, nothing at the moment. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's just see. We're still waiting for podium. Well, there we go. Everyone's made it now. So let's get started. Let's begin from first to third. Let's start with your winner, Andy Andre. Congratulations on a dominant win towards the start-finish line there. It was at 13 seconds. There you were just unstoppable on that hard tyre. Just looked like you were a bit vulnerable towards the end on that medium tyre.
I don't know, but honestly, I felt like I had the pace throughout. Didn't feel in danger at any point. The mediums were kind of falling off hard and going one extra lap. Yeah, it was a bit on the limit in terms of wear. I really didn't want to go first and risk going into traffic, and also having one lap pressure hards in the second stint was something I was aiming for, and it all worked out fine.
And of course, now that is I was going to say that's your second race in a row, but it was third in Vegas. So you're starting to put a streak of things together. I would kind of assume that this is all kind of building up to next season, as you kind of say yourself. The championship's kind of over. So how are you feeling? Obviously, you've had a couple of things happen this season that has meant you've had to take time away from the league. But now going into next season, how are you feeling about your chances potentially?
Oh well, yeah. As you said, my hopes for this season are pretty much gone. But I'm still here every week, trying to keep myself in form and enjoy the current races. And I don't know what's gonna happen next season. We'll see what the driver lineup will be. But if things stay as they are, I'm pretty confident I'll be able to fight for the top spot again.
Well, that will certainly be quite a day when we see that again. I mean, I say that, but there's now 36 points between you and Rush the Siri. I mean, that's better than it was. I mean, obviously Vegas has played a big role in that. Do you think there's a small chance? I mean, there is still 3 races to go, and there's a total of 81 points. Anything can happen, just so you know.
Of course, incidents all are always part of racing, and you never know what can happen. It's never over until it's over, as they say. But yeah, realistically, I don't stand very many chances at this point. But it's not the first thing on my mind. I really enjoyed the racing, enjoy being here, and yeah, today was a fun one, and hoping for more like this one.
And just to ask as well, there was David looked like he was trying to help you out there. He actually sacrificed his own race to go and do a 2-stop. He started on mediums, went on to mediums for his first stop, and then actually got back onto I think it was a hard tyre towards the end of the Grand Prix. Were you in communication at all with the Scotsman just to try and see if he could help you out at all?
No, no, I wasn't, and yeah, I'm not using any telemetry app or anything like that, so I didn't know what was going on further behind for fourth or fifth place. I don't know. I don't remember exactly which one the game displays. But yeah, any help would have been appreciated, and for sure, I big thanks for the effort if that was the case.
Andy, congratulations on yet another win in the SSRL universe. You are a driver to beat every week to week. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Can't wait to watch it back. See you next week.
See you next week. We now move on to our second place driver by the skin of his teeth, Rush the Siri. Congratulations on second place there. That looked a little bit closer than you would have liked. Fellow Sun was definitely charging up the rear there and made contact with you on the final lap. How do you feel now after all of that?
I feel good. After a few laps, I saw, okay, Andy is just on some other pace tonight, so I just started conserving my tires, and I was a bit too much underfueled for not having DRS all race because Andy was just gone, so I had to fuel save a bit. And in the end, it was great fun with Phillison. Yeah, it's just how many points I'm ahead now? You said
36 now. It's well, it's ahead of
36,
Andy, but with Herman, I didn't quite get the points difference there. That was between he's finished 7th, so that is a 12-point swing your way. So that's gone from a 5-point deficit to a 17-point deficit to Herman at least.
Yeah, so if I keep finishing kind of like this, I think this championship is yeah, let's see if something happens. I mean, everything can happen. We saw it last week, as you said. So yeah, but I'm happy here. I had some fun. Yeah, I hope I can take it to Andy in one of the next races. Abu Dhabi, I haven't raced ever on it, so just depends on how much practice I get in. But I don't think the last few races anyone gets close to Andy. So GG's to him. Let's see in the mystery race maybe.
I was just about to say that. Yes, let's see the mystery race.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as you say, like Andy was kind of a league above everybody else tonight. I just kind of wanted to ask, was there anything in your strategy that kind of would made you consider trying to get past him? Because towards the end on those medium tires, you brought down the gap by about, I think it was 2.2 seconds or something like that. And it just looked like you were just about to kind of get close there. But then once the hard tires were bolted on, Andy just was gone. And was there anything you could have done differently, or was it just simply there was just too much?
I stopped watching the delta to Andy after lap 3, I think. So I didn't even know that I was getting a bit closer at some point because I was just trying to be smooth, trying to not get any track limits, trying to save the fuel that I was noticing I need to do. So that's all. And then it was nice that Feddersen got there, so we had some fun. Yeah.
And was there any kind of pressure at all in those final couple of laps, just considering obviously you are currently leading the championship and really you need all the points you can get if Andy's going to be dominating these last few rounds?
It's tough to overtake here, and I just talked to Feddersen in DMs a bit. He had way higher wings, so it was hard for him to close up. And I didn't feel like he was in the position to do any like dive or anything. And the last lap, I felt like I was in control. I knew where I put the car to, yeah, to not being overtaken. And it was just, it's not that often that you can like defend for a lap or two, like being under pressure, and I enjoy it.
Right. Well, fellows, goodness me. Russia Siri, congratulations on second place. We'll see you next week. And, well, the championship fight will continue into Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, then. Last but most definitely not least, fellow Sun, congratulations on third place. Your second podium in a row. Last week it was second place after some drama, we'll put it nicely, from the last lap. But tonight it was all on pace alone, and you went long on the hards, and you nearly had second place there on those mediums. That must have felt really good towards the end.
Yeah, it did. I didn't really know if I could do anything because I knew that most people had much lower wings than I did, so I couldn't really get close in the straight. I had one chance in the first turn in the last lap. I should have gone on the inside rather than the outside, but maybe even then Rush could have just defended it. But yeah, the tires were good. I wanted to do something different. I've seen pretty much everybody went for the medium to start with. So I thought I'd go for the hard and hope there isn't a safety car.
And of course, we were actually close to a couple of moments in safety car there. Not that you would have been aware of it, but do you think, looking back now, do you think you would have done anything differently? Would you have matched the strategies in front of you, or do you think your one was still the best one for your race?
No, I wouldn't have changed anything, and I don't think it was better either. But it was much more fun to have a big tire data compared to the guys ahead of me. They were on like old hards compared to my new medium, and yeah, the difference is just great, and it's nice to hunt people down.
Of course, and obviously we've got 3 rounds to go. Are we going to be seeing you again within the next 3 weeks?
Yes, I think so. Quincy asked me if I want to become a Red Bull full time, so I said yes.
Oh yes, okay.
So I'm definitely going to be
all right,
and hopefully on the podium as well.
We will look forward to that. Obviously, you've scored 2 in a row already, 1 in the Haas, now 1 in the Red Bull, and then hopefully you can take your first one as a full-time driver next week. We'll look forward to that. See you in Abu Dhabi then.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And just before we wrap up today, obviously that's the podium interviews wrapped up. Quincy, I have one question for you because this is about the rules of the penalties in the league. I already stated that Babiš had a 63-second penalty to serve tonight. Now, obviously, he has retired in the race. So what does that mean?
In the past, it means that you need to complete your race in order to serve the penalty. So because it's still unserved because he didn't complete the race, it'll then carry forward. Unfortunately for him.
Well, short and sweet, and I thought that was the case. So thank you for confirming that, Quincy. We'll see you next week. Or tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Tomorrow. Bye-bye. All right, so Quincy confirms that Babiš must serve his penalty yet again next week as it continues to go unserved. But either way, there will be more action from Qatar, whether you like it or not, tomorrow night in Division 2. Of course, Herman the German will be joining me in the commentary box for that, and so his expertise will be definitely very useful to carry us both through that race. Hopefully, we see a bit more action than we did tonight. But either way, tonight wasn't at all that bad, at least. Of course, considering Qatar and how those kind of races can be a bit of a procession. But either way, we saw overtaking. Velocone gave us an absolute spectacle, and hopefully that's an inspiration to other drivers. But as soon as Qatar wraps up, it is Abu Dhabi next week, followed by Miami, and then, of course, my final commentary, probably in 2025, and my final commentary in the UK will be a mystery Grand Prix between December 22nd and December 23rd. Merry Christmas to all of you. Well, a bit of an early one maybe, but we are in December. Can you believe that? Next month will be 2026. I certainly can't either. But either way, let's enjoy these final 3 races. Let's enjoy the final, what is it now? Is it the final 8 races? Yeah, it's about the final 8 races now, isn't it? Because we've had our first one tonight with Division 1, then we'll have our second with Division 2, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah. So technically 7 to go now. Yeah, we'll see you. Well, if you're not going to join us for Division 2, we will see you for Division 1, same time as always, 7:30 p.m. GMT. And, well, that'll be on Monday with Division 2, obviously on the Tuesday. And we hope to see you then with Herman the German. Until then, from myself and everybody at SSRL, we all thank you for watching. And to all the drivers, the admins and the stewards, thank you for putting this show on every single week. And from myself, just from my personal self, we thank you. Thank you for watching as well. And from wherever you may be in the world, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive, look after your mental health. Bye-bye for now.